welcome. This is Kevin, also known as AKAAWOL, and today I am making a template. I made a few bracelets earlier that were wide and used 16 colors, and they turned out really cool and everything. But I still have some of the string left over, and I thought this would be a cool opportunity to kind of show you how I can make a template, and in my future videos I'll actually show you how I design my bracelet with the template. So essentially this thing is going to be, for the template for part of it, like a candy stripe where all of the strings are just going to be going to the right hand side. And you can see I'm just tracing both where it's going to the right as well as how it goes underneath the other strings when it's going to the left. And yeah, sometimes doing a template like this can be rather time consuming, especially in this instance because there are 16 colors. If it was like 8 colors in the same space, obviously I would be able to work on maybe just like the right hand side of it and have the left hand side mirroring it, which would be really super cool and would go quick. But that's not what we have here. So there's our first color. You can see how it kind of goes across. Yeah, it won't have, like, color wise any kind of particular symmetry. You know, we didn't like try to start it in the middle or anything, but that's okay. I don't think it needs it. The big part of this is more about what we do when we change the direction of the knots. Instead of going to the right, what happens where we go and use the ones to the left. And yeah, and I imagine the possibility of somebody wanting to be creative in this space, but they don't want to go to the trouble of actually making a template. And I can get the allure of that, the idea that, oh, it's supposed to go under only. The idea that if I can be creative in my mind, I can save myself all this time of filling in a graph paper like this is, and just kind of wing it as I go along. I get it, because this is time consuming. This is something that, you know, maybe you just want to avoid. Maybe you don't have a computer, so it's real difficult to try to manipulate an image on your phone. There's potentially a lot of reasons why you might not want to do this step. But for all those reasons, I can tell you that I can be so much more creative. I can come up with so many more things when I can use like guidelines and adjust for like the space and turn this into something amazing. In how many different ways I can approach the same kind of projects and make something like you've never seen before, just by taking the time to actually make the template. And even if, let's say you couldn't do this because you don't have a computer, you could print out the templates I have. You can find somebody that has like a printer or whatever, if they have a way of kind of lightening it up so that way you could like use color pencils. You could make the template physical on paper and just mark off the areas that you want to have go the other direction. You don't even have to have it accurate with the colors. You know, just mark which ones are going to be going the other direction, and that should be enough to create something, you know, all your own, unique. So it's 3, 1, 2, 3. This is the fourth one, right? So what I'm saying is there's a lot of ways that you could accomplish this if you put your mind to it. And it definitely is going to lead to some pretty cool creative stuff. I already have string cut for 2 of them. One of them I was thinking about doing similar to the last double wide I made, where it was interesting little blocks inside of the thing. But now I'm kind of questioning, do I really want to do that again? Or do I want to try for something entirely different? Because I've only got the string cut for 2 more. And if I go and pull out a skein of each color again, that would be 3 more bracelets. And I don't know that I necessarily have the ideas for 3 more. Well, it would be 4 at this point, right? No, 5. Because I already have 2 already cut. So yeah, if I pull out a skein of each one, it would make it 5 of these smaller versions. I'm not sure that I want to just do all that. So I'm really kind of contemplating, like, what kind of pattern do we want to go with to really kind of showcase what you can do with the template. I have an idea for one, never tried it, have no idea how it would turn out, but kind of excited about the prospects of doing it. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This one next. Yeah, these 2 reds are so close to each other. So yeah, and this is also partly me trying to inspire you guys into trying things out. Like, this template will obviously be available over on my website. I will, you know, put it together for you and have it ready. But there's a possibility, what if the string you're using, maybe you don't double up your string, so you need it to be longer. You know, that might be reason for you to actually have to build your own template right there. Because one of the patterns that I am planning, the one that I'm kind of being a little bit secretive because I'm really kind of excited about it, that pattern, it's different in the middle. Like, I've already got this idea that I want to do, and it's different in the middle. So I have it, like, I'll have it centered. But let's say if you want to try to mimic it, but you need a longer one, then you'll need your own templates, and you need to figure out, like, how many knots from top to bottom is the template that you need. And then you can kind of sort out like, make it for yourself. Plus, what if you do your colors a little bit differently than I did? What if you have more reds or more yellows or something else a little bit different? There might be all the reason there for you to try it differently. Like, these were the 16 colors that I chose, and I had bought a bunch of. But maybe the 16 colors that you have are going to be different. So there's another really good reason for creating your own template. So that way it's easier to see what it is you're doing and make your design come to life. Now, mind you, this kind of template only works if you're going to just keep it down to only 2 kinds of knots, the forward and the backward. That's it. No zigzags or whatever, because as soon as you do that, you're changing the direction of the underlying string. So by that, these tend to be easier bracelets to some extent. I mean, obviously that last one I did where the 2 rows are just have so much going on inside of the 2 rows, that it was actually really hard to follow the pattern and get it right. But that's all right. I mean, it's not everything we work on can be easy. Even though this, like I said, this does tend to be easier. It tends to, you know, it's either one of 2 ways. There's, you know, I don't know what I'm saying anymore. I just really want you guys on board. I want you to try it. I know that not everybody will enjoy these, but for those who are maybe just kind of leery, don't want to do like the zigzag knots, these projects here, you can get so much just using, well, in this case it's 16 colors. You could, if you wanted to, you could do like 8 colors, but then it would be red, orange, yellow, right? Kind of coming down the line. Otherwise, down the middle of the path, if you don't do it that way, down the middle of the path, the same color will be there, so it doesn't work out so well when you're trying to change its direction. So there we go. And then this is the last color on this side. And even though I'm really only planning on doing 2 bracelets with this, putting together a template for it, to me, is going to be really, really worth it, because without this, I would not be able to put together the pattern, right? If I don't take and have something to work from. In the past, I might have done these individually, like go ahead and just do this for fill in the whole thing just to make one bracelet, and you know, that's cool and all, but being able to save it and have it as something ready in case I come up with even more ideas, I think has a pretty big payoff. Means I don't have to fill this in twice. All right, so after the purple is the blue, and the blue will start up here at the top and come down, and that's how it ends up after the purple. The crazy part is I'm really, really excited to try out these ideas. And for as long as I've been making bracelets, you would think that like I've tried it all. I've done everything I could imagine. And it's just not the case. Like, once I kind of get into a groove, like this has all been the last week or two has all been about doing these kind of patterns just like this, and despite the ones I've done in the past or whatever, I can still come up with new ideas, new ways of making it just be different. And I think that's kind of exciting. I think that's part of what keeps me still very active with making stuff, is the fact that it's just a never-ending amount of things that you can challenge yourself to do. Like, if I had to, let's say we wanted to dedicate next month to the same kind of thing, but I come up with 15 more patterns? Probably. If I really wanted to push myself, I probably could. Will we maybe do that in the future at some point? Maybe not next month, but at some other point, will I come back to this? I think so. I think a lot of the ideas take time to sort of daydream about other ways of manipulating the strings, and it'll take a little time for me to come up with the ideas to spend a whole another month on this, especially seeing as how, you know, we were just pretty creative with it here just recently. But yeah, I can definitely see it coming back and trying some more of this stuff. I mean, especially if you guys get involved, if you guys start, you know, pushing me and saying you want to see more of this, then yeah. And let's go to this other layer and just kind of scoot this in a little bit further. All right, so we're on number 3 now. Number 3 now. Because it's kind of funny, like the easier patterns I do, I would have thought I would get so much more traction that, you know, we'd get more people wanting to try them out or more people watching the videos, but that's not necessarily true at all. Sometimes it's the much harder ones, and it kind of blows my mind because I don't see a lot of people actually making them. So I'm really confused if the harder bracelets aren't something that you're willing to try to make, then why are the videos so popular? I don't know. I don't have a rational reason in my mind for why that's true, but it's possible that you guys are just kind of happy to see somebody else try it. Somebody who's crazy enough, perhaps. I don't know. Trying to do this, the one thing that really kind of gets me is if I zoom in a lot, I can hit the mark much easier. But if I zoom in too much, I have to keep moving everything around, and it's kind of difficult. It's kind of problematic. It's okay, we've done the first 3, so now we're on to this greenish color. So yeah, it's about trying to find the right amount of zoom. To be able to get these colors to go in without making mistakes. Because I don't know if you noticed, I've made a few where I hit the black box instead of inside of the circle. One thing I can say though, this is 16 strings. one thing I can say is that at this level, at 16 or more strings, the number of things that you can do with this pattern is so much greater than, say, if it was only 12 strings. With 12 strings, you really kind of limited to like the three knots down the middle. 5, it starts to, it just doesn't work quite as well. So, but at 16, you can do like 5 knots going across the center, going the other direction, and it looks really good. So it's just a matter of how much canvas you have to work with, I guess. So I have to admit, like, putting in 16 colors onto the graph paper is kind of difficult to be able to actually tell like which shade it's supposed to be representing which string, with the exception of a few. Like this green here, I know exactly which green this one went to. Same is true with the yellow and the bright orange. Well, I guess for that matter, the lower orange, kind of the lighter version, this one here, I kind of knew because it's sandwiched between the yellow and the other orange, so it made it kind of obvious. But there are times, like with these two reds, sometimes I had to like kind of make judgments on where I was, more on what was going on with the design than being able to tell by the color itself. Because the nuanced shades, it's very difficult when you have like 16 different colors in your pattern. It's just not very easy. So but again, that might have a lot to do with the colors that I chose for these projects. Okay, we got 3 more to go. So this green is next. Yeah, so I knew what the next color was just based on a process of elimination. There's 3 left to go, so the third from the bottom must be the one. And this is, I think this is a pretty good example for you guys to be able to see like how long does it take for me to actually put something like this together. I'm pretty sure there'd be other ways to approach this, like maybe just put in all of the top strings first and then go back and put in the underlying strings. Like obviously that would be an alternative way to have done this, but I think doing it the way that I'm doing it sort of is quick. Again, I don't know. I don't think that I've ever tried clocking myself to see what is the fastest method, but I think this isn't bad. Okay. 2 to go. I do think that I might try doing a template for like a thinner version where I don't double up the strings. The only real problem with that is if you try to do a 16 color with 16 strings, and you're doing it single, then you have to have tassels on both ends. You don't get to have a loop. So that would be kind of, well, just be different, I guess. I'm not sure how long I would cut my strings for that, because normally I'm fine with having the length left over to make the tassels at the end, but to have tassels at both ends, I'm not sure how that would work out. If you do it 8 colors, then you can still have a loop and do it single, because you'd have a color on either side potentially, but not with 16 per 16 strings. That makes sense. Yeah, this green here too, also kind of, when I was working the patterns, this one was pretty obvious. It's the one right next to the yellow, and it is such a light green. This was like another one that I, distinctly recognized. The blue stood out as well. Like there's a few in the purple range. But yeah, like sometimes just kind of counting how far away from the blue it was to get an idea of where I was with the strings when working on it. So and there we go, all finished. So there is our template. 16 strings all doubled up into a bracelet sized for the strings that I'm using. This is going to work out perfectly. So, all right. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thank you to my YouTube members who make this possible. Without your contributions, I wouldn't have the strings to actually pull off these patterns and stuff for. So thank you guys so much for that. I can't thank you enough. I'm really excited about some of the projects that are coming up, and you guys made that possible. So thank you. And thank you to the viewers who actually hung out for this one. I don't know how long the video was, but it seems like we took a little while, and now you know how long it takes to make a template. So there you go. Yeah, don't get your strings in a bunch.